new and first collab album by Alabama rapper Yelawolf and Orlando rapper Caskey, I believe is how I'm pronouncing that right. It is the first album, collab album that I've heard this year. Probably not the first collab album that came out this year, but definitely the first one that I've talked about on this channel so far. And I gotta say, it's not too bad. It's a pretty dope start to hopefully what's going to be a good amount of great collab projects that will come out this year. I wasn't really feeling the collab albums last year, that shit wasn't like as good as they could have been. Don't get me wrong, not every collab album last year was terrible. There will always be the very perfect and amazing Unlocked EP by Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats. That won my heart last year. It was one of my favorite albums that came out last year. Denzel Curry slowly is starting to grow on me. He really does have potential to be a fucking menace and a fucking animal in the rap game. And Kenny Beats even became one of my new favorite producers last year. I have never really heard of him, and he just really like impressed me with the very like different and sort of like nerdy way that he does his beats. And there will always be the very beautiful and underrated Hard EP by King Crooked and Joel Ortiz, giving those very big fans of the Slaughterhouse rap group a very like nostalgic like vibe feeling. So I really like did enjoy those few collab projects, but at the same time there were other collab projects that weren't terrible. They just had a lot of potential but just ended up a bit disappointing. Like for example, the sequel to the Savage Mode album with 21 Savage and Metro Boomin. Considering that the first Savage Mode album was a much more short and simple album with just one feature, and this one they went all out, which really isn't all too bad, but at the same time it can be a bit underwhelming sometimes. And there will also be the Emergency Tsunami mixtape with Nav and producer Wheezy, which that one was a very big like a downgrade from Nav's earlier album, Good Intentions. I just found it really funny how I said a lot of good things about Good Intentions, and then Emergency Tsunami came out, and I was like, yeah, I do understand why people do give Nav a very hard time. So yeah, those are just a few examples of like a little bit of good collab projects, but at the same time it was bombarded by just a bunch of very low quality collab projects in my opinion. 2015 was the year that I got into Yelawolf. I was a sophomore in high school, I believe. That was when he came out with his second studio album, Love Story. That was the Shady Records debut project, and that one was a very beautiful project. It was very different. I wasn't expecting it. Yelawolf is a rapper that he is from the Dirty South. He has like his own sort of like version of rap. At the same time, he like he adds a lot of like few like South twist to it. Sometimes he like includes a little bit of country into it. He like does like a few singing here and there. He really is like the definition of like an alternative like version of anti-rap. How they say that anti-rap is ironically one of the few like real like strands of rap that we have in this world right now. And I think that is what Yelawolf really does accomplish in a lot of his music. I have heard him on a few features with Tech Nine and A$AP Rocky, but Love Story was the first album that I actually gave a full listen to, and it really got me excited to see what else Yelawolf was going to do next, because he definitely had a potential to be just an outcast, someone who is outside of everybody's like own lane. He like makes his own path. He really like just thinks outside of the box when it comes to all of his music. And 2019 was the year of Yelawolf, in my opinion at least. He came out with the highly anticipated third installment to his Trunk Music series. That was his last Shady Records album. That's how he ended his contract with Shady Records, and he really did leave with a bang. I actually like really enjoyed what Yelawolf had to offer in his third installment to the Trunk Music series, but not only that, a few months later, I think later on in October of 2019, he came out with his first independent release since 2013, 2012, I believe. And that was the Ghetto Cowboy album. That was under his own, Slumerican record label. And it really, really was something really dope. 2019 was definitely the year that Yelawolf was making a lot of noise and was really showing us that he is still in it to win it, and he still really, really like is passionate about his craft. And he honestly he, like I said, he really is like an outcast of the outcast. There are certain rappers that are just outcasts of the outcasts. And Yelawolf is definitely one of them, because I really, really like don't see a lot of people hyping him up like I see a lot of people hype other artists up. And this time Yelawolf teams up with Caskey as they both show us what the Dirty South can do with hip hop. What can the Dirty South do to not only make hip hop sound a lot more better, what they can contribute to hip hop, but pretty much the new sound they can give to hip hop. Now, I know when I say that, it makes like a lot of, not just OG rap fans, but modern rap fans like seem a little like, I guess, skeptical, because obviously, and I was very guilty about this at some point too. Obviously, when we think about hip hop, we don't think about places like Alabama or Florida. We think about places like New York, specifically Brooklyn, a little bit of Detroit. Atlanta is very dope too. Chicago is a very, very big place for hip hop as well, where hip hop is alive. Those are the other cities that we think about when it comes to, where hip hop lives, and like, like where like some of the biggest like modern legends and just legends in hip hop overall exist. But at the same time, there are many places around like in the world that can really, really, give hip hop a much more different vibe. And that's why I really love what Yelawolf has to offer. He is a rapper from the Dirty South. He grew up in the slum, but he obviously had a lot of worldwide dreams when he was growing up, and when he like was starting his career for the first time. And he really, really does give hip hop this like great alternative sound that it's just a really, really good a really good breath of fresh air, because it just really, really like does like make you think that hip hop can literally be anything nowadays. A lot of people can just do something that's so fucking like genre bending that people just are really, really excited to hear. Now, to be honest, I was honestly really, really surprised when I first heard this project, because this is not the Yelawolf that I was expecting. Yelawolf trades his signature like alternative Dirty South rap style to a much more modern like trap vibe, but with again another twist from the Dirty South like style. He pretty much experiments with trap music throughout this whole album, which sounded really good. But at the same time, I was very surprised, considering that Trial by Fire, for example, that was his third studio album. It was an album that didn't really include that much rap. There were a few like rap elements to that album that would be considered a hip hop album, but at the same time, I personally wouldn't consider that one a hip hop album, because it was just so different. There was just so many like different shit that Yelawolf was experimenting with, and I was hoping to see more of that here. But at the same time, I actually was really, really glad to see, or I guess to hear what I did get in this album. As you all heard me say for many, many times in my channel, which I apologize, but you're probably gonna hear me say this as many times as I can, but I don't really, vibe with trap music that much. But I honestly don't mind this one at all. Yelawolf and Caskey both give me like that OG 3-6 Mafia vibe, and they both pretty much turn every track into a lyrical tag team deathmatch. I personally feel that Yelawolf is a very, very underestimated, lyricist and rapper. When you compare him to other white rappers in the world, he really, really doesn't get talked about as much. And to be honest, y'all, although I will be the first to admit as well that Yelawolf can be a bit cringe sometimes when he raps, But when you put him on a really, really dope beat or put him up against somebody that he has to keep up with, he will fucking rap. Like the man can fucking spit bars. And personally, I think he has proven this many, many times that he's been alongside people like Juicy J and Eminem, Tech Nine. He even was a part of that One Train track with A$AP Rocky, which consisted of other great rap talents like Kendrick Lamar and Joey Badass, Action Bronson, Tanny Brown, Big Crit. He really, really like has proven to be a really dope lyricist, and he has proven to be a fucking force to be reckoned with many, many times. Not just because he is a dope lyricist, but because a lot of the shit he makes is really, really like genre bending. Honestly, both Yelawolf and Caskey set the tone off right with the first track on the album, simply entitled "Just the Intro." That track really, really, just really, really like sets the tone of the amount of lyrical rage that you are going to get with every track on this album. Every track is filled with such great lyrical rage, really great metaphors, really great beats as well, very catchy beats. Both Yelawolf and Caskey are a really, really dope duo. I personally have never heard of Caskey before, but he really did show a lot of potential in this album, and I am excited to not only maybe give some of his solo shit a try, but to see what else Caskey and Yelawolf are gonna do next in this industry if they do decide to work together again. However, I will say that for me, the main attraction is Yelawolf. I think Yelawolf really, really proved himself to be, once again, a really dope lyricist, a really great rapper when you put him on a really like dope beat. Yelawolf has just proven to be somebody that a lot of people truly, truly can't fuck with because he is a really dope rapper. But unfortunately, I will say that I wasn't really feeling Caskey that much. It's not that I don't think he's a bad rapper. Like I said earlier, I think that he showed a lot of potential, and he really, really like does show that he can work well with a very, very like well-known rapper like Yelawolf. But at the same time, I feel like Caskey is stuck in Yelawolf's shadow throughout this whole album. I don't really feel like it's a Caskey and Yelawolf album. I personally feel that it's just a Yelawolf album because Yelawolf just outshines Caskey in every track. But like I said, it does show the potential that Caskey has, and hopefully, there's a chance for Yelawolf to sign Caskey to Slumerican if he hasn't already, so we can truly see the amount of potential that Caskey has, and hopefully that would lead to a much more, like a successful career. But for now, I will say that although Caskey was outshined by Yelawolf throughout this whole project, I will say that he really, really like did hold his own for the most part. Honestly, y'all, I only didn't like 2 tracks on the album, and that was because some of the beats and production value just seemed way out of place, like for the style that Yelawolf does. Like I said, it is a much more like alternative, like Dirty South like style of trap that sounds really dope. But there were some tracks, which is those 2 tracks, that just seemed a bit too mainstream and just seemed a bit too basic and boring for Yelawolf to do. Like it really didn't seem like the type of beat that Yelawolf would really do good on, and the type of the type of beat that he would really, really like want to rap on. So yeah, it's just those 2 tracks that I didn't like. But at the same time, or I guess besides those 2 tracks, this album is a pretty decent collab album. Both Yelawolf and Caskey go in every track. They go hard. They never ever like keep your attention away. They always keep your attention and excited for what every track is going to be about. And it did turn out to be one of the best collab projects so far this year. It really sends the tone off for hopefully what will be some really good collab albums as the year goes on. But for now, we have this one, which is a really, really decent listen that I recommend to each and every one of you. But because I didn't like 2 tracks on the album, I'm gonna give this album a 7 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my review. What did y'all think about this album? Have you heard it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? What are your favorite tracks? What are your least favorite tracks? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would definitely love to have a conversation with you all about this album. And with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell down below, all that good stuff, and don't forget, stay happy.
It's like I'm living a dream, that's how to reach. I've been cooking like Walter and Jesse Pink. It's exhausting trying to be a prodigy. Past deep.